President Adama Barrow Wednesday presides over the swearing ceremony of the newly appointed Secretary to Cabinet and 2 other appointees. Relatives of missing Tunisian migrants are frustrated by the government's lack of support to find their disappeared loved ones. And President Barrow has also instituted a commission of inquiry to examine the dealings of all local government councils in the country. Well, these and more coming your way on The World Today. Hello, this is Eyeafrica TV and you are watching The World Today News Bulletin coming to you live from our studios in Banjul. Many thanks for joining us. I am Amadou Kante, and now the news in detail. And we begin with matters of the presidency because the newly appointed Secretary to Cabinet, Aliou Njai, Permanent Secretary to the Public Service Ministry, Aliou Loum, and Maud Cissé as the new Auditor General of the National Audit Office, respectively, were Wednesday sworn in at the State House in Banjul at a ceremony presided over by President Adama Barrow. Moses Mendy has more details of that in this report.
The Gambian leader acted on powers vested in him under Section 173, subsection 4 of the 1997 Constitution of the Gambia to appoint the trio to serve in various portfolios in his new cabinet. President Adama Barrow, along with his cabinet members, witnessed the swearing-in ceremony of the 3 new appointees at the State House in Banjul. The appointees took the traditional prescribed oath of allegiance, oath of due execution of office, and oath of secrecy. Speaking on behalf of the appointees, the new Secretary General to the Cabinet, Aliou Njai, expressed delight and gratitude for the appointment, adding that he and his fellow appointees have accepted the challenges that lay ahead.
I humbly stand before you this morning to deeply touched and inspired by your encouragement by appointing us in these respective positions. With sincere gratitude for the confident response on us, on answering resolve to honor the trust, and we are determined and humbly wish to accept the challenges ahead. Your Excellency and government has astutely guided the government and the people of the Gambia to the land of hope, and we also want to build on those guidelines for the betterment of our people. Your Excellency have opened the opportunity and given us the privilege. We are deeply honored. We are aware that we have to deliver every day, step by step, program by program, to meet the expectations. I wish to assure Your Excellency and the Cabinet Ministers that we, people of the Gambia, we will work diligently to materialize our responsibilities.
Mr. Njai also highlighted the need to work collectively, transparently, and honestly, because the minor successes are what translates into huge ones. The new additions will be expected to help enhance the government's much-needed development trajectory. For Eyeafrica News, I am Moses Imen.
Now, elsewhere in the continent, amid the growing violence in the eastern part of the Democratic Republic of Congo, Uganda is set to deploy more troops to these African nations to join the forces with the country's army to confront the resistant M23 rebels. Now, the latest move comes after the regional leaders agreed to help support the fight against the rebel groups in DRC, but Rwanda's participation was, however, rejected by the Congolese authorities of allegation that Rwanda is backing the M23 rebels. Despite a call for ceasefire, fighting has been escalating between the government forces and the M23 rebels in the eastern part of the country, leaving many in a dire situation. Let's have more details of that in this report.
Uganda is assembling troops ready to take up positions in eastern DR Congo. Over 700 soldiers will be stationed south of the city of Beni in the North Kivu province.
We have already sent an advance party which is already in Goma to harmonize a few things with the KDF, Kenya Defense Forces, which is already there, and other administrative arrangements. Our troops are ready. We are just handling a few administrative things, and soon we shall be in DRC.
Ugandan troops will make up part of the East African Regional Forces that will be fighting alongside DR Congo forces and the UN peacekeepers. Kenyan troops were the first to deploy and are stationed in Goma. The DRC has rejected suggestions that Rwanda takes part over allegations it backed 23 rebels, but Rwanda denies the claims. Uganda already has troops fighting the Allied Democratic Forces or ADF under an agreement with the DRC government. The ADF is a Ugandan rebel group with bases in the eastern DRC. Experts warn Uganda and Rwanda's involvement in the conflict will complicate issues.
There are rebel groups from Uganda in eastern Congo and rebel groups from Rwanda who are also operating in eastern Congo. So Uganda and Rwanda have strategic political interests in eastern Congo, and they would want to have some strategic connections and links with some of those ethnic groups in Congo through whom they can now fight their rebel groups.
The deployment follows a decision by regional heads of state to help support the fight against rebel groups in DR Congo. Defense forces from the region have earmarked areas that the M23 have withdrawn from as positions to be taken over by the East African forces. Part of their duties will be protecting civilians and internally displaced persons. Over 130 armed groups are based in eastern DR Congo and have destabilized the mineral-rich country for decades. Recent clashes between government forces and M23 rebels have intensified despite withdrawal by regional leaders. Regional leaders have now immediate timelines for the deployment of the force with the hope of finding lasting peace and stability in the DRC.
Those, rest of peace in the East African nation. Now, moving on, the United Nations Secretary General has announced a $397 million humanitarian assistance for the people in Syria ravaged by the disaster-wrought earthquake. More than 40,000 people are reported dead across Turkey and Syria since a devastating 7.8 magnitude earthquake struck the two countries last week, Monday. As hope of rescuing more survivors dwindled amid freezing conditions. Yahya Jammeh has more details of that in this report.
Tens of thousands of people have been killed and injured as a result of the disaster, and thousands of buildings, including schools and hospitals, have been destroyed. Millions of people across the region are struggling for survival, homeless, and in freezing temperatures. The humanitarian community is rapidly adapting to the unfolding situation but has also been severely impacted. Speaking to journalists in New York on Tuesday, Antonio Guterres noted that in the immediate aftermath of the earthquakes, the United Nations rapidly provided $50 million through the Central Emergency Response Fund.
Today, I'm announcing that the United Nations is launching a $397 million humanitarian appeal for the people of earthquake-ravaged Syria, and this will cover a period of 3 months. We are in the final stages of a similar appeal for Turkey. In the immediate aftermath of the earthquakes, the United Nations rapidly provided $50 million through the Central Emergency Response Fund, but the needs are immense. The Syria effort brings together the entire UN system and humanitarian partners and will help secure desperately needed life-saving relief for nearly 5 million Syrians, including shelter, healthcare, food, and protection.
The UN chief said that life-saving aid has not been reaching the scales needed as millions of people continue to struggle for survival.
We all know that life-saving aid has not been getting in at the speed and scale needed. The scale of this disaster is one of the worst in recent memory. 1 week after the devastating earthquakes, millions of people across the region are struggling for survival, homeless, and in freezing temperatures. We are doing all we can to change this, but much more is needed.
Guterres, in informing the international community, said that an 11-truck convoy is on the move to cross through Bab al-Salam and there are many more to come. Sending an urgent request to the international community, the UN chief said that the suffering of people from this natural disaster should not be made even worse by man-made obstacles.
And I have an urgent message to the international community. The human suffering from this epic natural disaster should not be made even worse by man-made obstacles. Access, funding, supplies. Aid must get through from all sides to all sides through all routes without any restrictions. I urge member states and others to fully fund this effort without delay and help the millions of children, women and men whose lives have been upended by this generational disaster. This is a moment for unity, for common humanity and concerted action.
In Syria, the total number of deaths stands at 3,576, including 2,168 in rebel-held areas in the northwest, according to the White Helmet Civil Defense Group, and 1,408 deaths in government-controlled parts of Syria, according to the Syrian state media. On Sunday, a 10-year-old girl named Kudi was rescued after spending 147 hours trapped on the rubble in southern Turkish Hatay province. In the same region, a 35-year-old survivor identified as Mustafa Sarigul was freed from the ruins of a 60-story apartment building after 149 hours. Reporting for Eyeafrica News, I am Yahya Jammeh.
Coming back home, President Adama Barrow, acting under Section 200 of the 1997 Constitution of the Gambia and the Commissions of Inquiry Act capped to 0.01, has established a Commission of Inquiry to scrutinize the conduct of all local government councils and connected matters, expected to complete its inquiry within 3 months. The 5-member commission is mandated to inquire into the financial dealings, administrative operation, and other related council activities. Moses Mendy again has more details of that in this report.
President Barrow is set to ruffle the feathers of the mayors, mayores, chairpersons, and councillors with a thorough scrutiny of the local government conducts and related matters barely 2 months to the much talked about upcoming local government elections. When unofficial reports about the establishment of the commission emerged last week, eyebrows were raised, prompting opposition leader of the United Democratic Party, Ousainou Darboe, to caution against a witch hunt of UDP mayors and chairpersons who are currently manning up to 70% of the local government positions in the country. Darboe's comments did not, however, stop Barrow's administration from setting up a commission to probe into the local council's governance system. Among other things, the commission is expected to ascertain whether loans, acquisitions, and payments by the local councils between May 2018 and January 2023 are in accordance with applicable policies and procedures. It will also ascertain whether the creation and operation of local government councils' bank accounts and monies withdrawn therefrom are consistent with policies of the banks and whether the sums withdrawn were rightfully applied to budgeted and lawful purposes. Furthermore, the Commission will ascertain whether due process and policies were followed in granting approvals for usage of the local government land properties. Decisions. The Commission is authorized to investigate and ascertain whether salary increment and allowances for staff and elected officials of a local government between May 2018 to January 2023 were done in line with applicable procedures and laws, bearing in mind whether the Council is overstaffed. Accordingly, the 5-member commission is tasked to investigate whether the general institutional arrangement and procedures of a local government council to ascertain whether the mayor, mayoress, chairperson, or councillor is directly involved in the policy implementation as the day-to-day management of the council has an internal audit, procurement, and IT unit, and whether all funded projects are properly audited. The Commission will also vet whether all major contracts and procurement contracts entered into by a council in the last 5 years are in line with applicable procedures and laws, and will also investigate the actual income and itemized expenditure of a local government from May 2018 to January 2023. The Jenababa Sambu-led commission will scrutinize whether the private partnerships entered into by a local council has benefited the council and the public and many other key issues. After 3 months of inquiry, the commission will then present its findings to the state with recommendations to any person or matter as it deems fit. It will also recommend ways and means to supervise local government accounts in a bid to end irregular cash withdrawals from a local government coffer and suggest ways to recover assets, monies and other resources that may have been plundered or lost. Former Mayor of Banjul, Samba Fall, is among the 5-member commission tasked to look into the conduct of the councils, including Baba M. Lee, Oremi E. Joyner, Sukai Seka Sanya and Jenababa Sambu as the chairperson. For Eyeafrica News, I am Moses Imendi.
And you are watching the World Today News Bulletin on Eyeafrica TV, coming to you live from our studios in Banjul. And from that report there by Moses Imendi, we now take a break and come back shortly.
Africa Global brings you state-of-the-art commercial and retail spaces available for rent at Madina Mall, located at the Brookwood Gardens Estate. Our commercial spaces comes with facilities such as 24-hour security, standby backup generator, air conditioning, shared conference room, and personal cash meters. If you are looking for a spacious and suitable business environment, look no further. Madina Mall retail and commercial spaces are just what you need. Ocean View office spaces with limited availability. Call us today and secure a space. For more information, contact 733-3363 or 594-1053 or email at info@tapafricaglobal.com.
The Gambia will celebrate 58 years of independence on 18th of February 2023 on the theme Democracy, Peace and Development. His Excellency the President of the Republic, Adama Barrow, will witness the march past and parade of the security forces and students at a ceremony to be held at the Makati Square in Banjul on Saturday, 18th February. As part of the celebrations, the organizing committee is organizing a public forum on the theme Democracy, a Recipe for Peace and Development. The event, which will take place at the Sir Dawda Kairaba Jawara International Conference Center in Vigilo on Thursday, 16th of February, will bring together representatives from various walks of life to reflect, debate, and have conversations about how we can strengthen our democracy to ensure peace and growth. The time is now to embrace the bond that unites us as Gambians.
Welcome back. This is Eyeafrica TV and you are watching the World Today News Bulletin coming to you live from our studios in Banjul. And once again, many thanks for joining us. And let's now look at the rest of the stories. Now, Usman Jallo, a chronic teacher and a father of a 2-year-old boy residing in Wellingara, Commonwealth in the West Coast region, is seeking for financial assistance to foot the bill of an overseas treatment for his 2-year-old son, who is suffering from what his medical report described as a tight spell in the child with tetralogy of fallout. Now, according to Mr. Jallo, the family does not have the means to pay for their child's treatment costs, thus requesting for support from the government, philanthropists, or anyone who could come to their aid. Mariama Cham has more details of that in this report.
The medical report of the child indicates that the 2-year boy is diagnosed with a month's history of intermittent fast breathing, noisy breathing, and occasional squatting. The child's father, Usman Jallo, while speaking to Eyeafrica TV, said that the sickness has been with the child for a while now. He explains how the family came to know about the child's sickness.
We were transferred from Fajikunda to Banjul after the scanning was conducted on the child. The doctor told us the heart of the child is not lying in its right. They told us that his condition cannot be treated here in the Gambia, and the only solution is for overseas treatment.
Mr. Jallo also said since the child's sickness was detected by the doctors a few weeks ago, the family has been struggling to buy child supporting medication due to lack of enough resources. The child's medical examination revealed respiratory distress evident by fast breathing, grunting, phlegmatic, centrally and peripherally cyanosis with finger clubbing. In simple terms, tetralogy of Fallot or hypercyanotic spells occurs when a child has a quick drop in the amount of oxygen in his or her blood caused by reduced blood flow to the lungs. The Jalokunda family is appealing to government, NGOs, philanthropists and individuals to help finance their sick child's overseas treatment. Reporting for Eyeafrica News, I am Mariama Cham.
And from that health-related report there by Mariama Cham, now onto our final story next, because the relatives and family members of missing Tunisian migrants are demanding answers from the country's authorities, who according to them are not helping in the search for their loved ones who drowned over 3 months ago. Now, in the country's capital, Tunis, some family members are calling for an independent investigation and accountability over the incident. Now, the Tunisian president attributed the boat capsized over the increase in human trafficking in the North African region, while appreciating the voluntary search operations conducted by some local fishermen. Let's have more details of that in this report.
The mothers, sisters and relatives of the missing migrants have been protesting for 3 months. The fathers, who are leading the search operation at sea, are now searching for answers from authorities in the capital city, Tunis.
All families are tired and desperate. We all know that our children are dead, but we cannot resume a normal life without burying them. The regional authorities were absent during the first hours of the search and rescue operation. We are calling for an independent investigation and accountability.
Since the announcement of a shipwreck in Zazis, hundreds of fishermen had volunteered to search for the missing. 7 bodies of Tunisian migrants were recovered last September, while dozens are still missing. Some floating and decomposing bodies were also found far from the coast of Tunisia.
10 Tunisians from the September shipwreck are still missing. During that period, we found the bodies of 7 Tunisians and 8 other migrants from sub-Saharan Africa who left the Libyan coast and drowned. The Coast Guard did not help us in any way.
The Tunisian president has ordered a new investigation. Qais Said also revealed that the shipwreck of a boat off Zazis, as well as others, are the result of human trafficking in North Africa and the Mediterranean region.
The search operations conducted by volunteer fishermen with their own vessels is proof of the solidarity and compassion between Tunisians. The Army and Navy must protect the coast of Tunisia and protect the people from all threats, including this phenomenon of irregular migration. Unfortunately, it's spreading rapidly for many internal and external reasons.
According to the Interior Department, more than 22,500 migrants have been intercepted off the coast of Tunisia, including nearly 11,000 from sub-Saharan Africa since the start of this year. The families of missing migrants blame the regional authorities in Zarzis for abandoning their children after the last shipwreck. Tunisian authorities say migrant smuggling networks are responsible for the rise in the number of migrants and missing persons in the Mediterranean region.
And from that report from the North African country of Tunisia, we now eventually bring this news edition to an end. But for more details on this and other stories, as always, as ever, you can visit on our website on Eyeafrica.tv. But for now, many thanks for the pleasure of your company. Thanks for watching. Stay safe and do have a pleasant evening. Bye for now.